Hello, fighters, survivors, and thrivers. Welcome to the Cancer Show. It is Superhero Saturday, and I love Superhero Saturday. Anyone who is battling cancer, who has survived cancer, who is now thriving, is a superhero. And of course, our angels in heaven above, those are our superheroes. And everything that I do to give back, I do in their honor, particularly my sister, who we lost almost a year ago. She is my superhero. Yeah. So I am on this website that I love, www.thisislivingwithcancer.com. So check it out. They have some wonderful stories here, and although some stories or some cancer journeys are very similar, they're also different in many ways. There are different challenges. There may be something that you connect with when you hear somebody's story, or something you learn, or something that motivates you, or something that just clicks. And I just think it's so important for everyone going through cancer, or on the other side thriving, or who has lost somebody that they love. If they're open and willing to share their story, it only helps others who are going through the same thing. I think I've said this before, but Brene Brown, one of my favorite speakers, authors, inspirational person, says the two most powerful words in the English language are me too. Me too. So it's like when you meet somebody who's gone through cancer or is going through cancer, it's like, oh, me too. So yeah, I'm going to share Lynn's story with you today. And hopefully you will get some golden nuggets out of it. And if nothing else, you will be inspired. Lynn's story, embracing the unknown. Living with cancer since 2008. If you're looking for Lynn, you'll probably find her out in her garden, or kayaking, or soaking at Starkey Hot Springs. Starkey Hot Springs sounds like fun. She lives in Idaho, about 2 hours north of Boise. She enjoys spending time outside with her husband, 3 children, and 3 grandchildren. Well, I've heard that Boise is beautiful. I've heard that Idaho itself, all of it, is beautiful. But for Lynn, life wasn't always so serene. In 2008, after spending nearly 3 years telling her doctors that something wasn't right, they couldn't get to the root of her symptoms. Finally, after a second biopsy, Lynn was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. So this is a cautionary tale, and I've done this myself. I waited 7 months before I got my colonoscopy because I was so busy living and taking care of my children that I didn't take time to take care of myself. And maybe, who knows, maybe I would have been a stage 3 colon cancer fighter survivor, or maybe I would have been a stage 2. Who knows? But it was 7 months. It's so important for us to take care of our health, and we have to put ourselves first when it comes to that, so then we can help and be around and enjoy all of the moments, many moments, long moments, hi Debbie, with our children, with our loved ones. So she kept on asking them over and over. She's 3 years telling her doctors that something wasn't right. So, I mean, for doctors, when somebody is saying like things aren't right, maybe you got to go a little bit deeper. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but thank goodness for Lynn for pushing and saying, hey, there's something not right here. 3 years. Well, that's a long, long time. Stage 3 breast cancer. Lynn goes on, and she says, I went through chemotherapy and radiation. I was also depressed, and I needed to treat that along with my cancer. How many of you have been depressed through treatment and even post-treatment? I mean, I call it PTSD, post post-traumatic stress disorder caused from going through a cancer diagnosis, treatment, and then into survivorship. I mean, it's a lot of stress. And even like perhaps in the beginning you're depressed. Listen, there's help for you. This is a wonderful community and there is help. So if you are feeling depressed, if you are feeling so anxious that it's affecting you to the point where you can hardly function, then reach out to your doctors and ask and get help. I mean, we have support groups, we have coaching. I am a cancer coach, that's true. But you know, if it's deep depression, that may be next level. And don't be afraid to ask. Don't be ashamed to ask. The most important thing is for you to get help emotionally and physically. They go together. Emotionally, mentally, and physically. Okay. For Lynn, a breast cancer diagnosis was a relief on the one hand. Finally, she knew that she hadn't been imagining her symptoms, right? She probably thought she was going crazy, like there's something wrong, and I keep telling them, and apparently there's nothing wrong, but there was something wrong. So listen to your inner voice. Listen, you know when you hear it. My friend and I have this joke about husbands and things that they do, and she'll be like, oh, he totally knows me, you know, when he does this or that, or like he always does this or that. And we have this joke where like, you already knew that. You knew that. You did know that. You heard that. That was like your inside voice was telling you that might be really problematic. But, you know, women were so good at just quietening down that voice. Well, don't. Listen to that voice, embrace that voice, and then act on that voice. Okay. On the other hand, the diagnosis was difficult to accept. Yes, so she felt relief that she knew what was going on, but getting diagnosed is difficult for anybody to accept. It's an immediate what? No, like a pushback, like stop. No, you don't want to believe it. You don't want to accept it. You can't. You're just like, it's really like a crazy moment in your life when you hear that you have cancer. It's just, you know, it's frantic. It's frantic and shocking, right? Shocking to hear that. Lynn couldn't get back the time she lost, time that she could have spent treating her disease. Lynn describes herself in the year following her diagnosis as being on autopilot. A cancer diagnosis is emotional for anyone. In this case, she felt regret for not speaking up sooner and more forcefully about her symptoms. Okay, so basically, she's saying that she feels guilty that she didn't push harder, and because she feels like she could have saved that time. Hang on, I think my dog Delilah wants in. Delilah, you want to come in? Come on. So it's connected to my dogs. Come on. Come on, my baby. Come on, my love. Oh, my loves. Oh, I got the puppy in here, and I got the mama in here. The family of furry babies. She couldn't get back the time she lost. Well, I mean, that I understand, but that time she was doing her best. She was doing her very best. And it was the same with me. I felt so guilty that I had waited because I had 2 little children. They're teens now, but they were 6 and 4 at that time. And I was like, oh my gosh, like maybe you're not going to make it. And your children aren't going to have a mom, at least their original mom. And you didn't take care of yourself. You didn't go to the doctor. You didn't listen to that inner voice. I was upset with myself. I felt guilty. I did not forgive myself for a long time. I have since now forgiven myself, and I also learned from that lesson. I take action now. When it's time for me to get my colonoscopy, I go. When it's time to get my mammogram, I go. If there's something that doesn't feel right, I call my doctor. I wasn't trying to sabotage the family or hurt the family. That of course it wasn't even in my mindset, but I didn't follow through with, I canceled my colonoscopy 3 times. I never thought cancer was an option. I would have gone definitely much sooner if I'd known that, but I didn't at that time. So I was taking care of the kids, the children. I was putting them first, because in my mind, that's what a good mom does. And that is what a good mom does. Absolutely, 100%. But a good mom has to be a healthy mom in order to take care of the ones that she loves. So that's the lesson that I learned there. It's not that I was ignoring it. I just was trying to do my best. And I honestly did not think that it was a big deal. But that's the thing. Like that, it's not us to decide that. That's why we have doctors. That's why we have tests. And my doctors always tease me, especially my gastro doctor, because I love to self-diagnose. I'm like, oh, it's IBS or it's colitis or whatever. She's like, you are not allowed to diagnose yourself. I'm like, okay, I won't. But I always play it down. I'm not the person who I'm not a hypochondriac. I'm the person that plays something down. Oh yeah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And then, in my own private time, I'll be like, oh, this is horrible. But that's how I cope, and that helps me cope. So, no self-diagnosing for me. As she says, a cancer diagnosis is emotional for anyone. In Lynn's case, she felt regret for not speaking up sooner and more forcefully about her symptoms. But she did. She consistently talked to her doctors for 3 years, or talked to them about it for 3 years. So she was consistent. Got to give her that. In addition to treating her cancer, excuse me, Lynn began treating her depression and anxiety. Anxiety and depression usually go together. She tried counseling and medication, as well as yoga and meditation. I like that. Counseling and medication, yoga and meditation, with limited success. So that's for her, but I believe, and Debbie, you already know this, that I'm a big believer in working out, in meditating, and doing yoga, getting outside, journaling, being aware of your thoughts. All of these things are really important to me, moving forward with your emotions. But for Lynn, it did not hurt, or she did not help. She said that it was limited. She tried counseling and medication, as well as yoga and meditation, with limited success. Ultimately, it was a 6-day wilderness adventure on the Salmon River in Idaho with other cancer patients and survivors that charged her life and helped her overcome her emotional struggles. So she did an immersion program. Immersion is like intense, it's nonstop, and it probably allowed her to really open up and to bare her soul and connect with, her inner strength. Because when you are outside in the wilderness, and for people that don't believe in God, it's shocking to me, because we go to Lake Sequoia every year, we hike, and I've been to many, many places, and just being outside, like in the Rockies, glaciers, mountains, oceans, clear water, blue water, and you're just like this little tiny living being surrounded by these glorious, monumental works of art created by Mother Nature. I mean, it feels so good, and you take a breath of air, and it's so clean, and it's so fresh, and you drink some water, and it's so clean, and it's so pure and fresh. Like, like, how could this, like, something magical did this? Some higher power made all this beauty surround us. It's just like going out and connecting with nature. And that's something that I, preach all the time. Get up and get out. Even if it's to the park, to a lake. See the birds, see the fishes, see the ducks. I mean, watch them interact. The trees, the flowers, the branches. Like I just noticed, I dropped my daughter off yesterday to see her friend, and I just noticed that her friend's street is just lined with these hemlocks, these beautiful hemlocks, just gorgeous. I'm like, this street is so beautiful. And now the cherry blossoms are out, and it's so beautiful. And then when we go to Canada, I drive into Spokane, or we fly into Spokane and we drive up. Why? Because I love that drive. I love it. The mountains, the trees, you usually get to see either bears or, definitely rabbits, bears, and deer. Usually always, because it's God's country. It's wide open spaces. And I love the drive. It's an easy drive. And it's so beautiful, and those gorgeous mountains. And then you get to this part where you're next to the river. So you're driving next to the river, and there's sunflower fields. So depending on the time of year, the sunflowers are up and then they're facing the sun. It's just, I love that drive. That's part of the trip. And I, do that trip with my children to go see my family, our family. And I love it. It's spiritual, and it's connecting with them on a different level, and connecting with our higher power and nature, and it just feels good. So doing that for a week with other people that are experiencing the same thing in that environment, with obviously a well-skilled leader, I could see how that would make a difference. And if nothing else is working, that's something to try. If anybody is watching this and is going through the same thing as Lynn, maybe this is something for you, An immersion survivor, or cancer patients and survivor 6-day wilderness adventure. It might just be able to knock you out of that state. There are several adventures like this, and retreats. There are lots of those for people going through cancer and post-cancer, and even for family members and caretakers. There's also programs for them. So if you are interested, please message me, and I will help you find exactly what you're looking for, because there's something for everyone when it comes to cancer support. So Lynn continues, I've learned to break out of my comfort zone, because who knows what will happen next. That's for sure. We all know that. We don't know what will happen next, because most of us were just it was shocking. It was like side-blinded. We're like, whoa, what? What do you mean? I have cancer. Of course, we never know from one second to another, but we think we do, right? We really think we do. We are very confident living beings, definitely. Overconfident is not a good thing. I think I was overconfident. I'm like, I'm fine. Okay, you're not fine, Allison. You're not fine. You have cancer growing within your body. You're at stage 3. That's not fine. What? Wake up call for me. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I got that colonoscopy when I did, and I didn't wait another 7 months. Can you imagine? Unbelievable. Okay, my symptoms were so mild. It wasn't really making me sick, so I didn't think that anything was wrong. like that wrong, not cancer wrong. Lynn found that being in nature was the best medicine for her soul. Yes! While on the Salmon River, she pushed herself physically in ways she hadn't since her youth. She made connections with other survivors that last to this day. It was a life-changing, emotionally and physically healing experience. Becoming comfortable with the unknown helped Lynn work through her depression and anxiety. Now Lynn is more willing to try new things and to embrace change. She takes nothing for granted. Okay, just so you know, I did not read this. I did not read this before I shared it with you, because I like to be, surprised too. So basically what I just said before this is everything that Lynn is talking about. Connecting with other survivors, other patients, pushing herself, physically, emotionally healing. Sounds like she was really worried. She was so full of anxiety about what's coming next. Like, is it going to come back? Because that's a big thing. I've helped several survivors through that part where you're constantly wondering is going to come back. And let me tell you, in the beginning, that happens a lot. It happened to me too. Like, it was like just something wouldn't feel right or something. I'd hear something about somebody I know who had a reoccurrence. I would just that would make me feel anxious too. And so what I did to help with my anxiety is I would call my oncologist and I said, "Can I come in for a blood test?" He said, "Sure, of course you can." Because when I get my blood test, then everything comes back okay. I would feel more comfortable. Now, I'm not saying that the blood test is the only thing that would constitute you being 100%. I know that. But for me, a blood test is what I needed to make me feel comfortable that I'm on track, okay? Like I'm still a survivor. It's not back. So that would just help me calm my mind. And also, I made sure that I stayed away from any information that would bring me down, or I didn't want to hear about people who were passing away. That was too much for me. I didn't want to hear that. So I made an effort to not. I wasn't the groups. I wasn't doing groups online in that time. I really wasn't even on Facebook that much. So I just kept walking, one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, and keeping myself surrounded by positivity, by energy, being outside, being with my children, being with my family, because I didn't get to see my family for a whole year, and that was devastating to me. So yeah, there's lots of things. There's lots of things that can cause depression, not just fear of it coming back, but you go into deep places, sometimes dark places, and you review your whole life and what you did and things that you wish you'd done and maybe mistakes, and it's a whole ball of wax. But I'm here to help you. If you need help, please reach out to me, because I've been there, okay? I've been there and I get it. And, I have forgiven myself for not taking the time to go and make sure that I was healthy. But I do now. So you learn from your lessons, and it's a backwards blessing, 100%. And taking nothing for granted. I have never met a cancer survivor who doesn't think like that. We don't take things for granted. We're grateful for everything because we understand how fragile life is. And in a moment, it can change like that. But before that, we don't think like that because we are so confident as humans. We're so, we think we're untouchable. But guess what? Yeah, exactly. Read my mind. Okay, so she finishes with this: friends help Being outdoors really helps. Massage helps. If I can help other people in any way, the experience is more meaningful to me. And that's how I feel. Helping other people get through this helps me, and it's an honor. And it's, it wasn't a deal that I made with God, but it was something that I stated the very first night. I'm like, okay, you're calling me. I'm here. I'm your servant. Let's do this. Let's get through this. And I'm going to help people through my journey. And then I'm going to make it my full-time job. After my children, to give back and to help. And I love this. I really love doing this. It's such an honor to serve. And she said massages help. Some people like acupuncture or Reiki. Friends help connecting with people that you really support you and who you really love and who lift you up. So important. And being outdoors. That's where the gold is. All right. I have talked your ear off. If you know of a superhero or you are a superhero, please message me and I will bring you on the show and we can talk about your journey. And if you help somebody through their journey, equally as important. Okay. It is a community disease, a family disease, a couple disease. Okay. It's not something you go through alone. So I saw this post. I'm going to just wrap that up with this. I saw this post earlier today, and the husband has cancer, and the wife, when she talks about it, she says, we have cancer. Like, when people are having babies down, they say, oh, we're pregnant. She says, we have cancer. And then I've even seen, people shave their heads for their spouse or for their sibling. It's like, oh, it's so emotional to me. Just like so awesome. It brings out the best in us, really. It brings out the best in us and the people around you. Okay, Debbie, I hope you're doing well. It's so nice to see you, virtually see you, kind of see you, at least see your name. And tomorrow, Debbie, I'm doing another onboarding tomorrow. So if you want to join, just let me know and I'll send you the Zoom. You're welcome to do it as many times as you like. Okay. So onboarding, I do cancer treatment for the newly diagnosed or those in treatment. And I just go over all these tips and practices, things that I did to help myself get through treatment and others around me with success and without depression, without anxiety, and with laughter. I laughed my way through cancer. That's right. I laughed my way through cancer. Ha, 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 ha. Evil laugh. All right. Here we go. Daily mantra. I am healthy. I am happy. I am whole. I am healthy. I am happy. I am whole. I am healthy. I am happy. I am whole. Thank you so much for joining me. The thriving starts now.